I had zero intentions of doing anything in the woodyard today. I just got done with work and it was just one of those days where I didn't feel like really doing much of anything other than this right here. This is kind of what I had in my mind to come out and do. Just light up the little solo stove, sit by the water, and just enjoy the afternoon and evening. I got the little solo stove fired up with some back 40 mini firewood. I want to give a big shout out and thanks to everyone who has ordered back 40 mini firewood in the last few weeks, last month. It's been pretty busy. If you have one of these and you need some of this, go to back40minifirewood.com. I'm burning a little cherry tonight, just sitting out here, and this stuff just smells great. But anyway, back to my whole afternoon here. I'm not really all into like giving motivational and inspirational messaging in my videos, and I'm not going to attempt to do that here, but I will tell a couple little stories. I'll tell you about what went on today, and I'll tell you a story about from back in the wrestling days, and then I'll see if you can kind of put the pieces together and kind of make sense of what motivational message might be intertwined with what happened today and what happened back in the wrestling days. So today I went out and, like I mentioned, I didn't have any intentions on really doing anything. I did on Friday Night Live on the live stream, we did burn some of the slash packs, the slash boxes. And so I had those boxes empty and I wanted to refill those. And little boss man is out of school now, so he is around to help. So I mentioned to him that I was going back to the woodyard to just pack up a few of those boxes with some slash, and he offered to come along and help. So we went back there, and as we were putting the slash out of the trailer into these boxes that I will eventually use in the fire pit up here, he noticed that someone was up getting wood. And I did have one slot that was empty in the roadside stand, and as we were loading up the boxes of slash, somebody had come and they emptied out the other two boxes. So now we needed to reload the stand. So I flipped the scene around here to have the water behind me in the background, and now I forgot where I was in the story of what was going on today. I think we were just about to reload the roadside stand. We were loading up the tote full of wood from the little shelter, a little woodshed back there. We did have we had a couple avalanches come down, but we got the tote loaded up. We took the tote up to the roadside stand, and he helped me load it up. So now on to the little wrestling story that kind of relates, sort of, to all this in its own unique way. Way back in the early days, there was a show up in northern Minnesota, and it was about a 3.5 hour drive. And it was kind of in this small town, and the expectations for the show weren't that great. And there were a couple of guys that, were kind of talking. We were planning on going, but a few of them were like, well, I don't know if it's worth going all that way, because we weren't. I wasn't scheduled. I wasn't on the card, so like I hadn't been booked to wrestle on this show. But a few of us were like, well, it is a long drive, but why don't we just go and, show up and see what happens. So we made the drive, 3.5 hours. We got there. It was an okay turnout for a show. I mean, it wasn't they weren't hanging from the rafters waiting to get in, standing room only. But some of the shows, what would happen would be the promoter would book like 5 matches that he knew he'd book guys for 5 matches, and then he would just kind of anticipate other guys showing up, and if enough guys showed up, he could maybe fill like 1 or 2 more slots. Depending on how good the crowd was, if a lot of variables went in, a lot of factors that took place. But anyhow, a bunch of guys no-showed. They didn't show up. And as luck would have it, the promoter saw that I was there, and he, first thing he asked was, well, did you bring your gear? Did you bring your stuff? And I said, yes, I did. So anyway, got put on the show, went out, had a good match. I was put into the opening match, which is actually one of the most important matches of a wrestling card. So on the show, when a promoter puts the card together, he's always got his main event that he builds down from, or that he builds up to, but one of the most important matches is the opening match, because the opening match has to get the crowd going and get the crowd fired up, and it has to get them excited for the next matches to follow. So there's 3 important matches on a card: the opening match, the match after intermission, and the main event. So you got to start the show, give the people what they want, and you got to end the show sending them home happy. So that night, I got to start the show, and if I wouldn't have decided to go and make that trip and show up, I wouldn't have had that experience. I wouldn't have been there. I wouldn't have been given the opportunity. So it's kind of like one of those things where, I guess now I'm going to kind of reveal the whole message. So if you've tuned in and you've watched this far, this is the spoiler. Just showing up. Like some days you don't feel like doing stuff. Just you go out, and before you know it, you're getting stuff done, and you can end the day on a high note. So we refilled the stand. We got some Slash picked up the trailer and the boxes, and then I was just feeling like, all right, I'm back here now. I'm doing something. I may as well. I need to start rebuilding my supply of mini firewood. So I fired up the Yappa, and I was just going to run through a couple logs, just cutting them into the smaller chunks for now. So I had a tote all set up at the end of the Yappa, ran a couple logs through that, made a bunch of chunks for mini firewood, and then, after that, I was like, all right, now I wasn't really feeling like doing anything, but now I've come out here and I got the Slash cleaned out of the trailer. We reloaded the roadside stand. We sold some firewood. I just made some chunks for mini firewood. So I actually got a little something done, even though I had really planned on doing nothing. Take that for what you will. Just a little story time here, sitting out by the water, enjoying a little fire. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Stay safe, have fun, and be cool. Maybe at some point I'll have to tell you a few more stories from the days of traveling the roads, performing inside the square circle, because there was some interesting ones and some good ones. But if you're wondering what that extension cord running across the deck is for, let me show you. You may or may not have seen the extension cord in the background here, but Little Boss Man has set up, I'm not even sure what this really is, but he's got a little swimming pool over here with a pump circulating water up into that thing right there, and then it goes down through that screen, and apparently it's some sort of filtration system, although I'm not sure it's working very well. He also does have his gold sluice sitting over here, so I'm wondering if maybe he was washing some pay dirt. That could be. I don't know. But the imagination of a 10-year-old, it is something wild.